Oh, hello. Thank you for tuning in to Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. My name is Danny Dealz. The show is produced today by executive producer extraordinaire Hurricane Lopez. Today, I wanted to talk to you about another retail favorite stock, another fan favorite. That stock is NIO Inc, ticker symbol NIO. This, of course, is a Chinese electric vehicle company. They are traded ADR through the US exchange. They're also traded in Hong Kong, I believe, also traded in Singapore. But all those shares are based on the shares in the NYSE, the American shares. Um, the company has a market cap 17.5 billion, has a 52-week range from $8 up to $24. Volume today was 66 million shares, got an excellent pop of 6.41%, down about a percent or a thin dime after hours. Um, okay, I am initiating coverage on the NEO stock, a meaningless endeavor, but one that I am taking very, very seriously. I'm going to put on my glasses for the occasion. My glasses are a bit askew because they have been bent, as Danny Dealz is a bit clumsy and he tends to drop and smash things. Um, okay, what's my target price on Neo? Target price on Neo right now is going to be $16. This is another one of those stocks that was in the frenzy, the COVID frenzy. Everybody just had a ton of money. The stock ended up running up over $50. I believe it was like $60. It topped out at 62. Ran up again, came back down to 34. Ran up again to 45, and then it just fell back down, made the round trip all the way back down to the $10 range where we see it now. Same place the stock was sitting 4 years ago, and they have accomplished a ton in those 4 years. I guess. Why do I like Neo? I sort of got back into stocks with Tesla. I live in the beach cities near Los Angeles, and some years ago, probably 6 years ago, I don't know, I saw all my neighbors, they all wanted Teslas. And we have a lot of aerospace engineers here. We have a huge aerospace sector in like the El Segundo, Manhattan Beach area. And a lot of those people, the smartest people I knew, um, they all wanted a Tesla. It was like the Model 3 came out. And the stock was in it, but all I knew is like this is the hottest thing since sliced bread, and I bought some of the stock, and the rest is history. A lot of people say, "Oh, you just got lucky," but I don't think it's really luck. I saw that this was a different kind of product um, that people felt differently about it. Not just another car, not just like, hey, some guys are like Mopar guys, some guys are GM guys, some guys are even Ford guys. But this wasn't the same thing. It wasn't like a loyalty, a brand. It was an actual um, fascination and just sort of the utility, the simplicity, the reinventing of the wheel, if you will, that Tesla undertook, just sort of launched my investments again, and I'm grateful for that. I sold and bought and sold Tesla many times, but nothing was like that first run up where I was buying the stock at a price today equivalent, I think, of like $15. Um, and then I ended up selling it, like $300. It was just crazy. But why do I like Neo? Neo has been called the Tesla of China. I think that's a misnomer. Tesla is the Tesla of China. They have a very large and visible presence in Tesla themselves. Neo is their own company. They stand on their own. Um, and I think this stock is undervalued. That's why I put a price target of $16 on it. If you take a look at the chart, we seem to be finding some support down here at $8. You see that this trend line has held up pretty well for 2.5 years, and then Every time we'd make a low, it would pretty much bounce off this trend line. Got a little bit below it there, but now this latest low after the sell-off, down to 960, did not go below this trend line. You would have seen should have come down to like $7. We found support, and then this upper trend line that has been kind of making this little bit of a wedge here. Um, we are basically bouncing off that also for the last 3 years. Every time the stock tries to rally, it gets shut down. So we have to break through this and then get through the 12 area, 12 to 14. There is that's been a critical area. So you have to break through there, then break through 24, then break through 40 if you want to get back and test those all time highs. I'm not certainly not worried about that anytime soon. We have had a lot of disappointments. This is just kind of how the overall market has gone. But, you had this massive pump during COVID. Everyone was just flooded with money. These romanticized, idealized sort of disruptor future stocks had. Taken over the popular imagination of the retail investor. They ran this thing up and then it made the round trip all the way back. And I think, you know, I say this a lot, this irrational exuberance, if you will, irrational buying. A stock can be overvalued at 50 or 60 and be undervalued at 10. There's a whole hell of a lot of real estate between the two, and I believe that's the case with NIO. Everybody's just like, oh, it's trash, it's garbage, it went up too high. I mean, it's not the company's fault that people ran the stock up. I mean, the company has been doing some mistakes, but a lot of very, very good things. Let's talk about what makes NIO unique. What is the secret sauce? Basically, the secret sauce for NIO is battery swap. It is their power technology. It is their designs. It is their product line. So let's just go through it. Tesla, as you know, and I do have a lot of respect for Tesla. I'm still a Tesla shareholder. Don't have nearly as much as I once did because I had to sell and kind of diversify because that became most of my money as it ran up and just kind of it was a good thing, but I'm not one of those people that's going to leave all my money in, one stock or the majority of it. You have to, diversification for its own sake is not, Warren Buffett says he's not a huge fan of diversification just for its own sake, but, at the same time, you don't want to have all your money in one sector, one stock. Things can go wrong, and they do. And Tesla came down, way, way down all the way. I just traded again from like 125 to 200 and got back out most of my shares and, still love Tesla, but it just, the way the stock trades, sometimes you have to acknowledge that it's a little bit overheated and it's going to pull back. Still, a great company. Their execution with the Model 3 and Model Y and how they've dialed that in and, their expansion and their margins is just incredible. Why do I think NIO can achieve similar growth eventually? Battery swap is only part of it. Battery swap makes a lot of sense on a lot of levels, particularly when combined with full self-driving for certain applications, business-wise, industrial-wise. It's just very efficient. But beyond that, people are always sort of drawing the wrong conclusions, making the wrong comparisons with regard to battery swap. They're like, well, if a battery can get charged in 10 minutes, what's the point? If a battery can get charged in 15 minutes to 80%, what's the point of battery swap? It's unnecessary. It's necessary, I think, and it will become a player in the ecosystem of EVs, particularly in China and places that are not the West, I guess you could say. Um, why? Well, it's not so much an issue of how fast you can charge a battery, it's an issue of the power grid. Um, Battery swap stations can work with the power grid. They can charge batteries in the middle of the night or when nobody's using power, when everybody's at work. I mean, people are going to put demands on the power grid to charge. People that don't have chargers at home, they're going to put demands on all at the same time. That's like rush hour. It's when the gas stations are packed. And you're just most places the power grid just does not have the capacity to handle this super fast charging once you have widespread EV adoption. You're gonna, it's gonna just create a bigger problem than it solves, I believe. And battery swap is certainly going to be a part of that ecosystem in China. So basically, NIO is going to have a light business model where they're partnered with different levels of the Chinese government, manufacturing partners, and this was a subject of a short seller report some time ago where they said, oh, NIO's books are all off. They're taking revenue for these battery leases and they're not counting, they're basically their books are cooked. And NIO responded, and I researched this extensively, and their practice is very very common. They have leasing companies, leasing partners, and NIO keeps is their goal, I think, is to keep the high margin businesses in house. And then outsource the sort of drudgery, the grunt work, the manufacturing, the leasing, all this stuff that is basically, scalping pennies, low margin businesses, high volume businesses, but it's just not the business they want to be in. They want to be a technology company, a car company that is so much more, as part of the power grid, is part of all sorts of government contracts they're getting. I just see them becoming a player in a lot of things and doing it very intelligently. So they're not burning capital, they're not taking on a lot of debt. Um, so charging is not just a speed issue, it's a capacity at the time issue. You'd say the power grid has capacity to charge certain amount of batteries per day, but not all at the same time. It would have to be spaced out. And the living situation in big cities in China may not be what we're used to here in America or in Western Europe, but people are in big buildings. Um, they are not able to have fast chargers all hooked up at home. And with China mandating EV very, very quickly and adoption happening a lot faster than most people thought, I think that the model makes so much sense in China, and that's why they're building it out in China as quickly as they possibly can. I mean, NIO just came out; they got several new partners, and they're planning to build 1,000 new battery swap stations just this year. I mean, that is incredible. And they've just demoed just the other day, another good catalyst for the stock. They demoed their third generation battery swap station, which is faster, it holds more batteries, it's smarter, it's integrated with all kinds of things. Take a look at the press release and some of the stories you can read on CNEV Post and different Chinese websites. Now, see that 3 days ago, Reuters, China's NIO opens trial for high-speed EV battery swapping stations. And that's just kind of indicative of NIO. They are constantly innovating. That's another comparison to Tesla. NIO does not just make a decision and just go with it. They're not stubborn. They're more of a nimble, humble company. They're constantly revamping things, and when they do an upgrade to a new model, they do a face. They offer that upgrade to previous owners. They're an extremely owner centric company, and this again is part of the business model. It's owner first. Customer service. You want customers that are so satisfied, they stay in your ecosystem, and you make money off them in different ways. It's not just the car, the battery leasing, the NIO houses, the lifestyle. Then you're also going to be selling them a phone if that project ever gets off the ground. I don't really think that was a great idea. Horizontal integration, horizontal scope of your business is great. As is vertical integration where it makes sense, but I don't think you have to do everything. You don't necessarily have to make the hamburger people eat in the car. You don't necessarily have to make a smartphone. If it's good, it'll be amazing. It could be like a luxury item or even, more of a rebranded item, but I think they're engineering it in-house. So speaking of flexibility, NIO's product line, they're already on their second generation NIO 2.0 platform, which is how all the new cars have already been upgraded from the 1.0. So basically, everything that's rolling off the line at this point is the 2.0 architecture, and they're already working on the 3.0 architecture. In addition to that, they've announced their intention of two sub brands coming out. I don't know. It's extremely ambitious. This is where I do get a little bit worried. Are they trying to do too much too fast? And the answer is no. This industry, the EV industry, is going to consolidate. And most of the companies that exist today are going to go out of business. Obviously, BYD is going to be there, Tesla is going to be there, probably BMW, some of the other players are going to be there for at least a while. But the industry is going to consolidate, and most companies won't be there. And I think what NIO is doing somewhat is future proofing themselves. Excuse me. So with NIO, if battery swap takes off, NIO is a huge player. Um, if it's even sort of part of the ecosystem, but a significant part, NIO's a huge player. They're going to be able to license that battery, drivetrain, battery swap architecture to other nameplates. China may mandate certain things that force other companies into NIO's ecosystem. I know BYD, CATL, they have talked about battery swap, but to my knowledge, they're only experimenting with a limited number. Of studies right now. There's no other company aggressively building out thousands of battery swap stations on all the major highways in China, all the major cities in China. And William Li, who heads NIO, has just been traveling around China, seeing some of these second, third, fourth tier cities that are very large and could be lucrative markets. And so now he's expanding, they're expanding away from just the major markets to sort of the mid markets and the lower tier markets. So um, NIO is trying to offer not only the scope geographically to everyone, so making their products, their battery swap, their cars available to everyone in China, but they're also shooting for different brand segments. They'll have one sub brand that's a lesser cost that will be sold in China primarily. Will also use the same 3.0, will be their newest architecture, will also use the same battery swap stations, so it can also have the battery leasing model, probably at lower capacities and less costly chemistries. But this is just smart. They're reaching the maximum market segments. They've got horizontal integration. They've got vertical integration. They have their own battery department. They're doing R&D. They're going to be making their own batteries in the years to come. And they have one of the best product lines of any EV company out there. They have, the most brand, like the ET7, for instance, wasn't selling well. They didn't launch it properly, but management acknowledges that. I like management that acknowledges when they make mistakes. They're giving a facelift to the ET7. They're fixing some of the interior issues, and they're going to get that back out, and they're going to get it back generating revenue for the company. But you have to be nimble. You have to admit when you make a mistake, you can't just go down, the rabbit hole and just keep doubling down on your mistakes. A lot of the reasons that I like NIO is basically that there is a customer loyalty and a brand loyalty that they are building that I think will pay dividends for many, many years to come. NIO is building their house out of bricks. They are doing the hard work now so they can own the future. That's why I like NIO. That's why I put a price target on it of $16. You can see the stock was closing today about 10.50, came down to 10.37 after hours. I think the stock has a lot of upside. Management has been sort of doubling down on their production goals, and I think the first quarter obviously is going to be bad. The delivery numbers are not what we expected. January, of course, is a holiday month. But they have been revamping the ET7. ET5 production continues to ramp up. And I think NIO not cutting prices, NIO not sort of wanting to be an also ran and not wanting to feel desperate, trying to keep their product at a premium price point and keep their customers extremely happy where they're willing to perhaps pay a little bit more. NIO has so many things going on. Some would say they have too much going on too fast. I say you have to run immediately. You can't just learn to walk, learn to crawl. You have to run, and you have to make some, and that's going to involve making some mistakes. NIO has made some. They've had growing pains. They're learning from their mistakes. I don't think there is a next Tesla. Tesla accomplished something that's amazing, which is basically breaking the mold of the auto industry, bringing EV adoption, basically to the masses. And my hat's off to them. I don't think NIO is trying to be the next Tesla. They obviously have certain similarities, but ET5 going after Model 3 or Model Y, of course, but NIO's their own company and they have their own identity. It's very distinct. It's not like a Chinese company trying to knock off an American company. I think it's a Chinese company with outstanding innovation, management, product, horizontal and vertical integration, and I think their future is extremely bright. Not just battery swap, but for so many reasons. I put a $16 price target on the stock. And I believe there's a lot of upside there. Full disclosure, I do have a pretty substantial position in NIO. I am slightly down on that position, but I feel fine about it. Thank you for watching this little ramble about NIO. My name is DannyDealz. For Hurricane Lopez, executive producer extraordinaire, you have been watching Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just a little bit more. The stock is NIO, ticker symbol NIO. I hope you have a great night. Thank you for watching.